Hey everybody, tonight we're going to start a baseball bat wood grain, and we're going to do it with a beer stein mug, and it's going to be a baseball bat, not a beer stein. So I'm going to turn you down, and we're going to show you how we're going to get started. There's going to be two parts. This is going to be part one, and I'm going to show you how I tested 3 different colors of ink to decide which ink I wanted to use. I know which one I'm going to use now, but I want to show you the process I went through to determine which one I wanted to use. So I'm going to turn you down and we're going to get started. And first I am going to see if I can get you pulled up on my computer so that we can see any comments maybe. And remember, most of the time when I'm working, I don't read comments and I don't answer them, but I do go back and I answer any comments that you have after the live, so that way you'll know you'll get any question that you ask answered, and I'll answer any questions and I'll look it up after the live is over, and we'll go from there and we'll get you some answers to your questions. So right now I'm trying to see if I can get it pulled up, and I think I've got it pulled up now. So let me turn the volume off because I don't want to hear myself while I'm talking. There's a bad delay. Okay. Now I think I got it where we can see. So the 3 inks that I've got here is a sunshine yellow, a butterscotch, and a latte. So I'm going to show you what they look like on the cup, but I'm going to put on my gloves. I don't want alcohol ink all over my hands. And I'll show you the brush that I chose to use for this one. Normally I use a smaller brush with this same shape when I'm doing alcohol inks and doing a wood grain, but since I want some of the places of the wood grain to be bigger, I'm using this bigger brush. And I got this at Hobby Lobby, and it was a long brush, and I just got a saw and sawed the end off of it because it was too long. It was in my way. So anyway, that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you first what the sunshine looks like. You can see right in here where I did the 3 tests, but I'm going to do it on the other side because I want you to be able to get a better look at the colors. Okay, now that one is the sunshine yellow, and the inks come from Black Bear Glitters. They're selling Ranger alcohol inks. And this one is butterscotch. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay. You can see the butterscotch. There's not a lot of difference in those. The sunshine is a little bit lighter, but a little bit too much dropped on there, but you still can see the difference. This is the butterscotch run into the sunshine, and you can see it is darker. And let me get something and wipe that off right quick because I don't want that to be in our way when we do the other one. All I did was put alcohol on this paper towel and wipe that off. And now I'm going to show you what the latte looks like. And hopefully I can get just a small drop. For some reason they're just really pouring out. Okay. Now that's the latte. Okay, can you guess which one I'm going to use? I'm going to use the latte. That's the one that I like the best, the way the color came out. But I'm going to wipe this off that I've put on there, but I wanted to show you the process that I went through to determine which color I wanted to use. Because a baseball bat, I would call it a blonde color. It's not a deep color wood grain. Like, I don't know what they're made out of. I should have researched that, what kind of wood. But it's not a wood that is a dark wood. Okay. Now what I'm going to do first, I'm going to wood grain all over the tumbler. And then I'm going to go back and put in the look that I want to show on it. And I did this cup. I taped the top and bottom, and then I sanded and I cleaned, and then I painted it white. And I painted it with a matte paint. Alcohol ink, when you're doing a wood grain, just seems to work better with a matte paint. So that's what I did. I always paint my wood grains with a matte color paint. But we're going to do this all the way around the cup. And I started working on a logo today to put on it. I think I'm going to fix it for one of our local schools. We have a county school and we have a city school in our area. So I'm going to do this one for the county school. And this does splatter when you're doing it. It just sort of splatters everywhere. But remember, I will go back after the live and we will look at any questions that you've got. I wish there's some way where I could get it where that light wasn't so bright so that you could see it without so much glare on it. I'll wait and see what that looks like where I move the light. I may have to move it back, but we'll see. We'll have to do something about my lighting here in the basement. My husband changed one of the lights for me and put in LED, and it's so bright till everything has a glare on it. I can see better to work, but it doesn't work better for filming. So I'm gonna have to do some research on that and see if we can do something different for our filming to make it work better. But like I said, I'm going all the way around the cup right now. And the only thing I don't like about this stein is the logo that's up here at the top. I've got some that are stainless steel depot that don't have the logo on them. But for this, I decided to use this particular tumbler. Everybody got some stuff going on for Valentine's. Making you some tumblers and getting them started and getting them advertised. I've got a couple of ideas that I'm going to be working on, and we'll start one of them next week, or might even start it in a morning or afternoon session. We'll see. Okay. Now you can see where I've just sort of gone all the way around it and got ink on it all over. And make sure I got it all around the top. There's one spot where there's not any. But I want to make sure that I've got it all the way around the top where the tape is, and all the way around the bottom where the tape is. That light's still not working too well. Y'all hold on just a minute and let me go try turning a light on in the back and see if that helps. Give me just a minute and I'll be back. Okay, let's see if that got some of the glare off. Right now there's the delay, so I'm waiting for it to come back where I can see it and see if that helped. I think that helped a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put me some alcohol in this so I can dip my brush in it when I need to. And I'm also putting a paper towel out here, so I'll have it, and I'm going to put it in a paper plate because I'll probably get it everywhere. And I'm dabbing my brush into the ink. And then what we're doing, we're going to start making our wood grain. And we might have to add some more back on here, we'll see. And we just keep brushing it down, getting that grain in there. Just keep working with it, a little bit at a time. You can see where we're getting that wood look in there now. And still just brushing it down just a little bit at a time. Blowing on it to dry it a little bit. See where we're getting that wood grain in there. And you don't have to be this particular with it if you don't want to. A lot of people do wood grains and they don't do them this way. So whatever is the best way that works for you, that's the way that you need to do it. This is just something that I think looks good, so I do it this way. Okay. Now you can see that one. Now we're going to go back and wet it again. And I'm coming over about a ½ an inch. And I'm going to start working again. Dry my brush out a little bit more. Brushing it down. You can see where it starts to come down when you start brushing it from the top. And I want to be careful and not overlap this one into the other side where I've already made a wood grain look. Just keep brushing it down. Just take your time. We'll see where that one's starting to form. You can see how it starts brushing down from the top. Sometimes you have to go back and put a little bit more ink on it, and sometimes you don't. And here I'm working right at the very top. Okay. Now you can see that one. And then here we just want to brush that one and see the lines in it where it starts to blend together. Put a little more alcohol on my brush, and then I'm going back, wiping it off on my napkin. Coming down again. Wipe a little more off. Now we're going to start forming our wood grain again. Pull it from the top. That one I don't like right there how that looks, so I'm going to go through that again. Didn't fall right like I wanted it to. Now this one you've got it coming up close to the other one. And it looks like you're just wiping every bit of the ink off of it. But it keeps pulling down. And if you need to order some alcohol ink, if you order it from Black Bear Glitters and use the code in all caps, Judy Roars 20, you can get 20% off of your order. And the ink that I'm using now is Latte. I wanted it to be a light colored wood. And the brush you use, to me, does have a lot to do with the look that you can get when you're doing a wood grain. This is a real stiff brush, like a chip brush, but it's just shaped a little bit different. The end of it's more oval than it is just squared across like most chip brushes. And you do have some chip brushes that are round and flat on the end. But this one's more oval on the end. almost done with this line. Okay, that's the way it's looking. That right in there. I think I'd like to have a little bit more. I'll go back and work on that spot right there. I don't like that part being that white, but we'll work on it later. Okay, put a little more alcohol on my brush. And I'm starting to come down again just like I did before. Down at the bottom, we're working it down so we can start that wood grain look. And you just have to let it build a little bit at a time. Takes a little bit longer to do it this way. You can do it and just brush it like I did when I first put the alcohol ink on there, and you can still get a pretty good wood grain look and get it done in a hurry. But this just gives it a little bit more of a, to me, to an authentic look. But everybody has to do what they like and what they think looks the way they want it to. So if you can pick up a little bit from me and a little bit from somebody else, and then decide how you want to do it, that's okay too. Just do it your way. And when you look at the top, you think, well, there's just not any more ink going to pull down. But I think it pulls down from the top as well as some of it's still coming out of your brush. Okay, you can see how it's looking. Wet my brush again with alcohol, then I'm going to make a streak down to get started with my design. And remember, I will go back and answer any questions when I'm through, and if I don't get them all, or if something happens, then I'll answer them sometime tomorrow. And this one, like I said, I've got a logo that I designed to go on it for the school, which is the county school here. They have a baseball for the guys and softball for the girls, and really big into baseball and softball. And so is the city school. They have really good teams also. And I have a nephew that lives in Alabama, and he has 4 boys, and all 4 of his boys play baseball. So they're at the ball field non-stop during ball season. Just chop, 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 chop. But that's what it takes to get the look. Now just barely tapping up at the top. Alright. Now you can see that one and see how it's looking. Okay, back into the alcohol. Then run it all the way down the cup. Dry it off a little bit more, and then we're going to start with our design. Start pushing it down. And looking to see where that one is on the side, because I don't want to run into it, mess it up. Brushing it down. Show you what it looks like when I start brushing it down. Blowing it down there to get it dried a little bit as I go. Don't want it running. Let's see what it's looking like now. Have to just be patient and take your time. Not get in a hurry. And after you've done it a few times, if this is a technique that you like, you'll get used to doing it. And if you like the other way better, where you just go over the whole cup without this particular wood grain look, that's okay too. And you have to take shorter strokes as you get to the top. Could really go to a smaller brush up here if you wanted to, and it wouldn't hurt. Because you have to be real careful with your strokes when you get to the very top. And the alcohol ink dries pretty fast. Alcohol ink is forgiving. It is something you can go back with your 91% alcohol and wipe it off and start again. It may leave a little stain on your cup, but not so much that you can't go back and fix it by starting over. Now we've got one streak right down through here we're going to be working with, and then I'm going to go back and fix this white streak right here that I didn't like. Now this one is not as wide. I'm not going to have as much space to work with. So as I'm going down with the alcohol, I'm not doing a wide stroke. Have to watch because don't want it to mess up on each side, because I've already got a pattern on each side of this place that I'm working on now. And then what we'll do after we get through with this, I'll let it dry overnight. And tomorrow night when I come in from the shop, I'll put a coat of epoxy on it. And then we'll come back and put a decal on it for part 2. And there's only 2 parts to this one. And when we put the decal on it, I always like to put the decal on over a coat of epoxy. I don't like to try to do it if it doesn't have epoxy on it, because sometimes it can pull your paint off or your alcohol ink off. And why risk messing up something that you've already spent time and money on preparing, when all you got to do is put a coat of epoxy on it first, and then you know it's not going to pull your paint up, or it's not going to pull your alcohol ink up. Okay, now we've got that all the way around. I'm going to go back and work on this spot right here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of the ink just on this plate that I've got over here, and then I'm going to dab it back into where I've been dipping my brush right here, and that's where I dab the ink to go back in, and then just lightly fill this in. Didn't want a lot of ink on there, just barely touching it. I'm not bearing down hard at all. I'm just doing enough that won't be so white right there in that one streak without any kind of a grain in it. And then I've got a spot right down here. I'm going to do the same thing. Put a dab of ink. Blot it over here where I've already been blotting. And I'm going to go back in and put just a little bit on there because I just don't want it white. I want it to have that wood grain look. Okay. Okay, right down this section, right in here, we're going to put some wood grain on that. Dip my brush into my ink again, into my alcohol again. Then we're going to come down right through the center of that spot. Dab it a little bit more. And you can sort of look on each side and see where you can pick your ink up from. Pulling it down from the top. Okay, you can see how white it is there where I'm pulling it down from the top. Just about through. And remember, we didn't want this one to be a dark wood because we wanted it to resemble a baseball bat. Now they are making baseball bats that are colors. They're black or they're red, but we wanted this the blonde color of just a basic baseball bat. And you have to take shorter strokes when you get to the top. And I'm not really happy with the way those are looking, so I'm going to pull them down just a little bit. And so you can go back and start pulling all over again. The reason that they were puddling and not looking like I really wanted to look was because they were still a little bit too wet. And like I said, you can go in and you can do a real fast wood grain. Take your chip brush and just go up and down your cup and get a really good look. But for this one, I wanted to make sure it had a good grain in it to be a baseball bat look. Okay, now I'm going to go back and put a little bit more on my plate, dab it on my blotting towel so I can get a little bit more color right in here. Still need a little bit more. Put a little bit more right there on that one. Maybe a little bit right there on that one. Got that one looking a little bit darker. Okay. Let me look all the way around it and see if I'm satisfied with it. Make sure it's covered down here around where my tape is good. Okay, I think that's the way I want it. Let me hold it up so you can see it. I'm going to wait till it gets around on the screen from the delay so I can see if I've got it at an angle where you can see it. It looks like you can see it pretty good. And that's all that we're going to do to that one. and then the next time we come back I will have put a coat of epoxy on it, and when I put the epoxy on it then I will pull the tape. But then when we get ready to put the decal on, I'll put tape on it again, because then we'll want to put a coat of epoxy to cover the decal. So that's it for that. That didn't take long. It took about 40 minutes to do that, and got a little bit different look on it, and this will be to look like a baseball bat. So I hope that helped, and y'all have a great evening, and we'll pick up on part 2. Hey everybody, we're going to finish up our baseball bat tumbler tonight. That is a beer stein that I got from Walmart. I'm going to turn you down, and I'm working on some new lighting to see if maybe the glare won't be on the cup when we're doing it. So when I turn it down, we'll see if it works, and if it does, okay, and if it don't, well then we'll go back to the old way. So, but I just wanted to go over a few things with you. Remember, I always do me a little card on any tumbler that I do. I put the date, I put the type tumbler, and I always put the colors that I used and the technique. And if you do that, that way if you go back and you get a request to remake that cup, you don't have to worry about what you used on it. So this one tonight, I used Latte for my wood grain, and it's Ranger Tim Holtz, and I got it from Black Bear Glitters. And if you'll use the code Judy Roars 20 in all caps, you can get a 20% discount on anything that you order. So just keep that in mind. And remember, I always measure with a measuring spoon. I don't use syringes, I don't use anything else. This is what I use, and then I put it in my cups. The cups I choose is according to what I'm mixing. And with this one, this is a 20 ounce, so I'm using 1/2 tablespoon of A and 1/2 tablespoon of B. So what I'm going to do now, I've already got my epoxy mixed. It's still sitting because it's sort of frothy looking. It's a little bit cooler in the basement than usual, so it's a little frothy. It's about 70 in here now, but I'm going to turn you down, and we'll see if we can get this to look a little bit better so the glare won't be so bad on it. So let me get this into my turner, and then we'll turn you down and we'll get started. Tonight, what I'm going to do, I will be putting the decals on it. We painted it white after we prepped it, and then we did our wood grain on Monday night, and then tonight we're going in and we're going to put our decal on it. Now I've got decals that I did in 3 different colors, so I've got to decide which I want. This one is brown. Let me see, there we go, you can see it. And then this one I did in gold reflective. There we go. And then this one is just a it's sort of a, I guess you would use it for like glass etching, but it's a darker color for etching. But I about decided I'm going to go with the brown, and I did look for a font that would look like maybe carving, and I found some, but I didn't find any that I could get to work like I needed it to work. So I just went with a regular font that I had. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to turn you down, and then I'm going to switch lights and see if we can get it to work with the different way that I want to try to do it. So let me get you turned down, and I'm also going to see if I can get you pulled up on the computer. So let me go in just a minute, see if we can find it. And I hope the computer is doing okay as far as the internet. I'm looking. So let's see. Give me just a little bit. You know, there's a delay, and sometimes it takes a while for it to pop up. So we'll see if we can get it to pop up. Don't see it yet, but we're looking. Okay. Okay, now let's see if we can get it. Just a minute. I hope everybody's got a good weekend planned. Yep, here we go. I'm going to get it on here so I can see if I can see some. Oh, I see some people's already on here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this light on, and we're going to see what it will do, maybe turning this light up out of the way, and see if maybe that will get some of that glare off of there. This light that I've got on here now is it has a little bit of a filter around it, so I thought maybe it might work better than the one that didn't have. And by filter, I just mean around the fluorescent bulb. It's got a sort of a milky plastic, so maybe that will help just a little bit so we can get some of that glare off. But anyway, this is what we've done so far, and that's not helping an awful lot either, is it? Well, I don't know. I'm gonna have to get somebody that knows something about filming to help me with the lights. So anyway, but I also want to show you another one that I did. Now this is one that I did that's a little bit different, and I'm gonna let it come up on the screen to make sure that I can see, you can see what I'm showing you. But it's the same thing. It's the 20 ounce, and I just did the wood grain a little bit different on it. You can see it's just done a little bit different, and I put some knots on it in the wood and just did it a little bit different, so you can see. And this is the same color ink, but I just did it just a little bit different with man, I wish the lights would let you see it the way it looks, but it won't, so we'll just have to go from there. But anyway, this one is just a little bit different. Same technique, but I just did light brush strokes, and I didn't do as many details in the wood grain. So that's just to show you a little bit different way that you can do it too. And this one we're going to put the decal on it. Like I said, I've decided I think I'm going to go with the brown. And we're going to put it right in here. Of course, I'm going to put it turned this way. This is our school, Haralson County School, and they're big in softball and baseball. So that's the decal that I'm going to put on here. And I'm just sort of going to eyeball it, see if I can get it sort of straight like I want it. So we'll go from there. Right now I'm trying to get it to pull off of the release tape. So there we go. Okay, and now when I put this down, I'm going to put it down more in the center first, and then I'm going to work it out. And this is, it's shaped a little bit different, so you'll have to work with it to get it on there. And I don't know if I can do it in it on this stand, but we'll see. May have to pull it up a little bit. All that part did good. Now I'm going to pull it up and see if that's a wrinkle or what that is in it right there. Yep, it's a little bit of a wrinkle. Now the reason I had to delay a little bit was because of the cup not being dry enough for me to put the decal on it, and it's still a little bit too sticky, but we're putting it on there anyway. So let's see. May not can get this up, but we're gonna try. Nope, I don't think it's gonna come up. So I'll show you what I'll do to remedy that. And this, I'm going to mash it down. This one is, pull it up just a little bit. Straighten that strip out right there. But the other side I won't be able to do this because it's on a curve. But I'll show you how I'm going to fix it. And I didn't realize this was as sticky as it is, but I guess it's because I'm mashing that decal on it and pressing on it harder. Okay, now if you can see where there's that sticking up right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my really sharp X-Acto knife, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it right in the center, and I'm going to lay it down, and then I'm going to let this meet it, and then I'm going to cut it one more time where it touches. Let me get it sideways so I can see where it overlaps. Well, I think it does pretty good just like that. Okay, and then this spot right here, I'm going to snip it just a little bit. It's sticking up just a hair. So I'm going to snip it, lay one side down, and then I'll lay the other side on top of it. Okay. Pressing it down so it'll be real tight, but you have to do it real careful because you don't want to snip it. Okay. Now, got that ready. Now I dropped my heat gun, so let me get it out of the floor. I guess you heard it fall. And I'm going to hit these bubbles just a little bit. Now this cup turned about 7.5 hours, I guess. And to fill it like this, it doesn't feel sticky. But when you mash on it, it does feel sticky. So, but anyway, that's got the logo on there for the school. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to put the epoxy on it. And let me see if I can get that up like that and see if that shows that a little bit better. I'm looking at the screen. I know it's a delay, but I just wanted to try to get it to see if you could see it a little bit better. Move that up out of the way. I see that it's covering up the camera. There we go. Well, I don't know that it helps that much, but anyway, just wanted to try to get it so you could get a good angle and see what it looked like. But I always get a better angle once I get it turning so that you can see it. So now I'm going to turn our turner on, and I always like mine turning away from me. And I went ahead and chose the brown on this because I think it looks more like it's burnt into the wood than it does otherwise. So I'll get that pulled down just a little bit, and we're going to start putting our epoxy on. And we will pull the tape while we're on the live so that you can see I do pull my tape pretty much right away. And these cups are shaped a little bit different, so when you're doing your epoxy around the bottom, you have to be a little bit careful, because if you don't, that epoxy is gonna, where that dips in, it's gonna pull back and pull around that. So it's better with these if you put 2 last coats on it, if you know what I mean, rather than try to put a lot of epoxy on there for your final coat. It'd be better to go in and put 2 coats, so you can put it a little bit thinner, but you still want enough on there that the cup is protected, but you don't want it to where it's going to pool around this bottom. And around the bottom here is where I'm talking, where that dip is. If you're not careful, it will run from each side and puddle in that dip. And remember, I don't answer questions when I'm on a live. I will go back after the live and any comments and questions that you have, I will answer them. Probably sometime this afternoon or later tonight. We're going out to dinner, so I'm not sure if I'll get to do it before we go. But you want to smooth it around your tape. Make sure you get it around your tape good. Top and bottoms. Make sure you got it around your tape at the top. And I just sort of let my hand glide over it. As you can see. Now normally I would go back and drizzle all over the cup, but on this one the only place I'm going to drizzle it is around where I put the decal on there. And I'll wait till it comes around. And just right up and down in here where the decal is. That's the only place I'm going to drizzle it on this one. And as it turns, it will level. Then I'm going to hit it with a torch. I'm going to wipe my hands off. That's pop the bubbles. You don't want to leave your torch in any one spot. You want to keep it moving. And I will let this turn a little bit, and then I'll hit it one more time with the torch. And I do leave a little bit of epoxy in my cup so that if any fish eyes come up or anything that I need to touch up, I can just put my popsicle stick in there and drop a drop on it and touch it up a little bit. So now we're going to pull the tape. I always pull my tape pretty much right when I finish. Sometimes I might do a few things before I actually pull the tape, but no more than 5 minutes. But it's usually always right when I get through with the cup. And there's usually always a spot where the tape overlaps that you need to wipe off, and I do that with a baby wipe. There it was. Okay, now we're going to pull the bottom. And when I put my tape on there, I always sort of bend a spot on it, so then it's easy for me to pick it up off of the cup, and I don't have to dig around on the cup so much trying to find the bottom of it. Now I'm looking for that one little spot. And this end of the cup, the way the lighting is sort of dark and I can't see it. So I think I got it though. Now right now I see a few little spots on there. They look like little tiny bubbles where you would have where maybe lint or something's on it. But I'm going to hit it with a torch again, see if that clears it up. And if it doesn't, well then I'll go back and touch those spots. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me heat this epoxy up a little bit, and that way it will, what I've got left in my cup. And heating it up, it just makes it a little bit runnier, so that when I drop it on these little spots, I don't know if you can even see them. I see just a few on there. And that's what I do. I just drop the epoxy on those spots. I don't see any around the bottom. Mostly where they are is around the decal. And that's right there some. And that's pretty much normal. You'll have them pop up, and sometimes then you'll have to sand your cup and put another coat of epoxy on it to smooth it out. But that looks pretty good right now. So I'm going to leave that, and we'll let it turn. It will turn all night, and then I'll film it and show you what it looks like. If I have to sand it in those little spots and put some more epoxy on it, then I will not show it to you until I actually go back and get the second coat of epoxy on it and get the tape off of it. And then at that point, then I'll show it to you. But I'm going to flip it around a little bit so maybe you'll be able to see it. You get it out from around this light. And we'll turn it around. I think you can see it, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what this one looks like. Maybe you can see it better up like that. It comes with a decal on it. And you can see the bottom. I'll show you where I taped it off. It has, I used the exact same measurement, but the way the bottom's shaped, it doesn't show on the bottom when the tumbler is sitting down, but you can still see that I did leave the stainless on there. So that's all we've got on that one, and then I will show you this one more time just so you can see a little bit different look as far as doing it a little bit different way as far as your wood grain. And I did use the same color. I used the latte, but it just gave it a little bit different look. So that's all we've got for that tonight, and then we will be thinking of something else that we're going to do Monday night. So y'all have a good evening, have a good weekend, and I hope you get a lot accomplished. So I will talk to you later. Bye now.